So our next storyteller is going to be standing alone, and without the benefit of the piece of art, which we will share with you guys post this via the digital interwebs. We will make sure that you can all get eyes on this to see the piece that is evoked by the story that you're about to hear. So Studuzo Myeni is our storyteller, and she's a mother and a scholar, born and bred in a small town in North KZN called Tuba. I hope I pronounced that correctly. She has 4 brothers and is the eldest at home, so regards herself very much as the rose amongst the thorns. She works at the University of Fort Hare in East London, and I would like to call her up to share her personal story with you all.
I'm Studuzo Myeni. Maybe I must start by apologizing that my artist that I was paired with is not here yet, but he promised that he was on his way. So he made a beautiful piece that goes with the story. He's a portrait artist. He does portraits most of the time. So what he did, the piece that he did, it's about a Greek goddess. It's a statue of a Greek goddess, an Aphrodite. It's an Aphrodite that rises in the Indian Ocean. So it's more like revoking the issues of love and also rising up, as well as electing, as you're saying, as the name says, the resurrection exhibition. So the topic of my story is Trisomy 18, 2018, my daughter with the unique code. Why is that? Trisomy 18 is one of medical terms for I would say in our society, we know the Down syndromes, but now medically, I didn't know that it have terms, it have numbers. Hence I said it's a unique code. Trisomy 18, there's a trisomy, full trisomy 18, there's mosaic, there's a partial one. Unfortunately, my daughter had a trisomy 18 full one, meaning those kids, they are not compatible with life, according to the doctors. What happened in 2018 when I discovered that I was pregnant, I was over the moon. I was excited like everybody else, expecting my second daughter because I had a 23-year-old son. So you can imagine the gap between them. So there comes a time where I have to confront the unexpected confrontations, whereby on the fateful morning, which was the 19th of August, 2018, when they hand over the baby to me, they said, there's something wrong with her. They shouted, the nurses said, let's take her to the NICU, the neonatal intensive care unit. So for 2 seconds, my heart stopped because my mind went wild. Something wrong, what could it be? Fortunately, her dad just came in and then requested him to go after them so that he can take photos because I haven't seen how she looked, even in the face. So after an hour, they called us in at the NICU to see her. I found a team of doctors, you name it, the geneticist, the pediatrician, the neurologist. Everyone was around her and saying, listen, your daughter has a trisomy 18. And then to our surprise, what's a trisomy 18? Something that has a number. So they tried to explain to it briefly. So the type of trisomy 18 that she has, it has deficiencies like cleft hands. Her ears were lower than the eyes. Her feet were not fully developed. Her toes were not fully developed. She has a big VSD and some 3 holes in the heart. So fast forward to the next 4 days, while she was still at the NICU, they call us in again so that they can explain to us deeply what the trisomy 18 is. So they said it's a full trisomy 18 and chances are 3% of her to make it into a week. So they said, oh, okay, meaning we should not expect anything that should pass at any given time. But she fought. She stayed about 36 days at the NICU. And then the time came, they said, you must take her home and bond with her, but be ready for anything. So I had to prepare myself mentally that I have to prepare her burial while she was still alive, which was a very painful thing. So we did that, and then I had a support system. My mother was with me, as they said, I'm coming from Tuba, which is 800 kilometers away from East London. So she flew in and then stayed with me until 36 days. So because of the restrictions that they have at the NCU, it's only the mother and the father that can see the child. So I had to beg the hospital and negotiate with them so that my mother could see her granddaughter. They allowed her for only 10 minutes. That 10 minutes, she prayed. You know our mothers, especially us Africans, she believed that she will make it. I said, no. I said, Mom, but she had clipped hands. And she said, she's holding blessings. And I said, but her right foot, the toes are not fully developed. I said, oh, those kids with those feet are very intelligent. So she will like, fly, make it flying colors, all that. I'm like, okay, she's in denial. Okay, fine. Anyway, maybe she was better trying to comfort me. Anyway, my name is Duduzo, which means comforting. But then I couldn't comfort myself. I needed all the support system that I need. After 36 days, now we're taking her home. Remember, she was at the NICU. She had all these machines around her. And then I asked them, at home, what's going to happen? I'm not a medical doctor. And they said, no, she's breathing on her own. The only thing that you should start monitoring, just look at her. If she starts the seizures, prepare yourself that she's living. Okay, the time went by and I get used to the routine. I was trained at the hospital on how to put her in nasal tube because she was fed through the nose and then goes down to her stomach. It was a long 36 centimeter tube that I have to insert and then leave it by the nose about 22 centimeters, the rest goes in. So if it went wrong, I have to restart the process. I have to do that twice a week. Again, so that I can see that I've inserted it in the right way. I used the litmus paper. We'll suck out the food out of the stomach through the tube and test it on the litmus paper. If the litmus paper doesn't change, that means something is wrong. I have to restart again. It wasn't easy. I did that, and then I had to change a pediatrician because I wasn't happy with the one that I had before. The second one was able to give me a truly 2-hour explanation what is trisomy 18, and then he said too much of everything is a problem because it's a multiple of chromosomes, meaning as normal human beings we have to have a certain number of certain chromosomes, so that means she had extra one. That was why she came out like that. Okay, of which I was fine with that. And then now she started seizures. I took her to the pediatrician and I told him that no, she has started seizures. And then he said, that thing is not curable. What you have to do is just wait and just put her on your thighs and brush her off until she gets calm, and then she'll go away and then life will continue. And that's like that. It's like, yes. So that was the only option I have. This day on the 11th of December 2018, I took her to the normal routine, the clinic for her immunization. And then later in the afternoon, I had a visit from my brother from KZN. He came through just to see her. He bought her a lot of clothes. And then I was happy because, gifts, we love gifts. And then later in the evening, around 8, I just fell asleep, and then I slept next to her. And then afterwards, I woke up around 10, and then already the nanny was feeding her. And then I was sitting on the chair across, where they're sitting with the nanny. But I could notice that she's not moving. And she's not moving, she's just. And then I said to the nanny, can I have my baby? And then she gave it okay. I could say that she's normal, she's gone. I didn't tell her anything. I went to the bedroom and changed her, and I drove to the hospital so that it should be them that declaring that she's I've lost him. So when I get there, they rushed, obviously it's an emergency, and then they said there's no life here, which is fine. I wasn't ready, I must say, I wasn't ready. I got used of having her around. I've got used that I have a baby. I've got used to say, no, for me, I have to love her like a blind person. Trisomy or not trisomy, she's still my child. And then now, fast forward to the preparations of the burial. Remember that I have to prepare prior. Already I've told my mother and my partner that I wanted to cremate her. And the reason for me wanted to cremate her, because I'm in East London, obviously I'm by the ocean, in the ocean. So I wanted to stay until, with the ashes until I'm ready to disperse them. So I did the whole process, and then, but firstly, because of our African traditions, I have to take the ashes home in KZN. When I got there, with my brothers, we didn't see eye to eye. One of them said, we cannot stay with a dead body. Those ashes, it's still hair remains. So they forced me to go in and disperse the remains in the St. Lucia, it's next to where I come from. So I did that on the 29th of December, and then I had to drive back to East London on the 1st of January. And then now, she's gone. What next? I realized that I've lost strength. I don't have anything with me. I've lost red blood cells. I couldn't walk for about 3 steps. I would get tired and sit down. I had to consult with the doctor and said, no, we don't have any red blood cells. And then I gave him the history of what's been happening. And then he referred me to a psychiatrist. Funny enough, the psychiatrist, he didn't know, even the doctor didn't know, that the psychiatrist also went through what I went through. So for me, it was a process whereby we are healing each other, which went well. And then on the February the 15th, I decided to visit the public hospital in East London, Frey Hospital, just to find out if they do have trisomy 18 cases. So they told me that they had one 6 months ago, because remember, this is a rare abnormality. So not everyone gives birth on a trisomy. So, and then I asked them their ways of helping the mothers that have lost their babies like this. And said, no, we even have the stillborn clinic. We have social workers that comes every Thursday and give them counseling. In my case, when I was at the Beacon Bay Private Hospital, I didn't have any type of support whereby I would sit down with a psychiatrist and go through therapy and counseling about all this. It was a matter of me driving 40 kilometers every day to go and give my child my breast milk because she responded well to it. So, and I said, okay, this is a wake-up call, meaning I need to do some drive, making people aware that there are things that are called trisomies. Because trisomy starts from trisomy 1. I recently discovered that was last year, that it starts from trisomy 1 until trisomy 21. So with the trisomy, with the abnormalities that we usually see, those are trisomy 21 because they can live a bit longer. The ones that we usually see that can play, run, talk, and everything. But with these others, they have different complications. So up until in February 2020, before COVID, somebody introduced me to the foundation, Open Mic Foundation, and said we have a platform for women called Open Mic Foundation, Open Mic Sessions. And then I was able to be given a chance and start talking about it. Since then, I never stopped. I was more comfortable of telling my story to every woman I come across in such a way that even with my studies, it's about the rural development. I go to these deep rural areas and ask them, because obviously the cases are not the same. With me, I have privilege of having a medical aid, of working and all, so it won't the same. I have a privilege of having an internet and Googling what is trisomy. With a woman in rural areas, when you're asking them, do you know about trisomy? And they, no, what's that? And then, okay, what did they tell you when you're giving birth to this creature? It's like, no, they just said your child is Sitan, in Zulu Sitan, a person that has abnormalities. So, and then what? Take your child and go home and wait for her to die. And that's it. So it teared me up. Basically, that's my story. Thank you for listening.
And just to let you know that there's so many studies out there that tend to indicate that if you can talk through your trauma, if you can sort of rewrite the narrative, as we've heard from some of our speakers tonight, there's not just psychological benefit, but actually tangible health benefit. There's a study conducted by a doctor named Jamie Pennebecker who looked at severe trauma and its effect on long-term health. And he found that people who talk to friends, family, or support group, or I suppose something like this would probably qualify, did not face as severe long-term health effects. And so we're talking about an actual study where lots of people were monitored and tracked over a length of time. And what he saw, that people who had somebody to speak to, who could not just share the story, but also sort of retell it and change it and generate a positive meaning, tended to suffer far fewer serious health complications later. So there's something that happens in the body if we can somehow retell this story and make sense of it. So I really do hope that this session of the Open Mouth Foundation, this resurrection exhibition, is something of that retelling that has tremendous benefit for our storytellers and for us, in that we get to listen and engage.